guys, the review today is going to be on the book Bed by David Whitehouse. Almost said Michael, I don't know why. Anyway, Bed is about a guy named Malcolm Eade who was a strange kid. The book kind of flashes back to him growing up, and he was always weird. He was always running around naked, didn't want to wear clothes, didn't want to do, anything that was expected of him. And kind of, because of that, tortured his poor parents and his brother. They were normal, they didn't know what to do with him. And growing up, he never really changed. He was still an odd teenager, and he was definitely his own person. He didn't care what anyone thought, and some people loved him for it, and some people couldn't stand it. But it was what it was. And, he wasn't going to change for anybody. But as he grew up, he decided to move out and get a job, and he had a girlfriend and all that stuff that you do when you grow up. But it wasn't for him. It wasn't his deal. So one day around his 25th birthday, he wakes up. He had gone back home, went to bed, woke up, and decided he was not getting out of bed. Ever again. He was just going to stay there. So he does. At first his family thinks, it's a joke or he's being ridiculous, and they try to get him out, but it's not happening. So he stays there for 20 years. And that's kind of where the book is. It's 20 years later. He's like 45. His brother's in his 40s too. And yeah, they're trying to get him out of the house. So he had grown huge, gained a ton of weight, obviously, if you're not moving. And so, yeah. And so the story is told from his brother's perspective, not actually his. It's from his brother's, who I don't believe is named in the book. I looked through it and tried to find his name, and I don't think there is one. Or if there is, it's not mentioned very often, which is interesting because he is kind of the nameless figure in the family. It's all about Malcolm. Everything, the whole family revolves around him. He's the center of his mom's world, for sure. His mom does everything for him, cleans him and feeds him and takes care of him. His dad has kind of secluded himself away from the family up in the attic, always working on, tinkering with things. And it's just his brother who's there left in the world, trying to survive. He tries to get away, but is always dragged back. And where the book is taking place now, in the present, he's back home with them, and he just can't get away. So it's a small cast of characters. It's just the four of them in the family, and then Lou, who was Malcolm's girlfriend, and then, she can stay with him, being in bed and all, so, but then Malcolm's brother's also in love with her, so there's a whole, triangle going on, and it was an interesting book. It was definitely different than what I expected. When I heard that it was about a guy who wouldn't get out of bed, and he'd grown so huge, and couldn't do anything, I thought it was going to be, I don't know, one of those TLC specials about, the world's largest man, but it wasn't. It was kind of all about the brother, but revolving around Malcolm and his whole deal, so it was strange. It made me mad because I was so mad that the family would help him. If my sister decided to stay in bed for 20 years, I would not be feeding her and washing her. No, you can get up and do it. I'm not dealing with it. So it made me mad that the family just dealt with it. But it's interesting. The story is interesting about how they are surviving and how they're doing what they're doing and how the poor brother puts up with it or doesn't, and how he tries to escape and Lou tries to escape, but Malcolm is just this force that keeps drawing people in. Even though they want to be done with him at points, they can't. They just can't tear themselves away from him or separate themselves from him. So it's a sad story. It's kind of depressing. It kind of made me mad, but it's interesting. And the descriptions of Mal's physical state is disturbing and really gross, but in a way that you can't stop reading about it. You just want to hear more and try to imagine how someone could do that. Though staying in bed forever is kind of tempting. I think about it every morning, getting out of bed. So I was kind of disappointed just because it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. But I do think it's an interesting story. I think it's worth reading if you think it sounds interesting at all to you. It's well written. Yeah, I just thought it was going to be from Malcolm's perspective and why he's doing what he's doing, because I think his ultimate reasons are stupid and a cop-out, but, he's weird, so it's hard to, get inside his head and understand. So yes, interesting, worth reading. Not my favorite, not what I wanted, but it was okay. Sorry if this review is kind of lackluster. This is the third time I'm recording it. I don't know why. Every once in a while I'll just have a book that's hard to sum up or hard to explain how I feel about it, So by the third time, it's just kind of like, brr, not quite as peppy as I usually am. I don't think I'm very peppy. I try to be perky, but it's not my natural state. So yes, if you want to, go read Bed. Let me know what you think. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.